Hey everybody, welcome to MT Guitar. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to do something a little bit different today and talk about how to improve as an intermediate guitar player and my 5 recommendations. Now this list might change a little bit depending on your background, where you're at, your level of understanding, your strengths and weaknesses. However, if you're going to become, an advancing guitarist, you really want to deal with all 5 of these recommendations I have at some point. Whether or not it's going to be something that is top priority or maybe something that at least you're aware of. So I'll go through all 5 of my recommendations, because what happens is you might be an intermediate player, a bunch of songs under your belt, you feel confident with it, you know the chords, and everything's great, you're switching in time, you're playing in tempo, but you don't know where to go from there, and you're stuck in the same old pattern of playing the same old chords and the same old shapes, and you have your scales. You don't really know how they relate to music theory, but you know them, and you don't really know how to connect it all together. So that's something that let's dive into a little bit. And I have 5 ways that you can get out of this rut, because I've been there. We've all been there. If you're a professional guitarist, you're not born a pro, right? So let's start with number 1. Number 1 tip for improving as an intermediate guitarist would be to use caged system to play a song all over the neck. Okay, and so what I mean by that is, if I have a song, let's say, and I recommend you do these 5 things with songs you already know. So let's say I know the song "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd. Okay, now these are all open chords. So the song starts in G major after the intro, and then the verse starts with C, D, A minor, G. And then it switches to D, C, A minor, G. That's the entire song practically, besides the famous intro, which goes back and forth from E minor to G. And then eventually to A. So, you have these chords, C, D, A minor, and G. Now, if I use caged, first off, I can play these in bar chords. And you might be an intermediate player and say, yeah, I know how to do that. Okay. Well, that's the beginning of caged, because these are actually, bar chords are actually 2 caged shapes, the E shape and the A shape. Here's the E shape of a G chord. Okay, that's taking an E chord and moving it up. That is using caged. The next one would be an A shape. Okay, that's an A chord moved up. Now, we're only using 2 of 5 shapes if that's all you're doing. So what you want to start doing is saying, okay, I'm going to learn triads from all 5 shapes. So let's say I want to play "Wish You Were Here" up and down the neck, and my buddy's already playing the chords, or I'm playing along with the track and I don't need to strum open chords, and I'm trying to get better. Well, I'm going to take the C shape of G. Now, we don't have time to go through all of caged. I do have lessons on caged. I'll leave in the description below. But let's say I have a C shape of G, okay? Now I want to play all the caged shapes in this position, which is actually 7th fret on my index finger. Okay, now I'll go to a C chord from an E shape. Now I'll go to a D chord from an E shape. Now A minor from a C minor shape to a D shape of G. Now I want to go to an A shape of D. Now I'm going to another set of strings here. Now I'm going to use caged to play scales and major pentatonic. So then I'm going to go to each chord and play the major or minor pentatonic. So here's the E shape of C. I'll play a major pentatonic. So you think you can tell. D major pentatonic. But I'm using caged. Use caged as a starting point for your triads and your scales. Number 1 is play a song that you know all over the fretboard. Okay, it takes time. It's not easy. It's not like I'm going to be able to give you one exercise and say, well, okay, this one exercise, if you learn it well, will bring you from intermediate to advanced. All right. Music requires time, patience, struggle. Number 2, you're not going to like so much, okay? It's transpose. Now, we don't like to hear that because we want to play the song that we know in the key that we know, with the chords that we know. But it wasn't until I got to grad school that I really realized the power of transposition. So what I mean by transposition is, let's say I've got a song. Let's stick with Wish You Were Here. And I know it's in G. So in order to do this, you would need to use Roman numerals. And in order to, progress through the intermediate stage, you need to start thinking about songs and chord progressions as Roman numerals so that the key is less important, okay? Because music is all relative, at least equal temperament is. So if I'm in the key of G and I play a certain amount of chords, I should be able to play that in any key. And this skill, it's kind of mysterious why it's so powerful, but when you start transposing, you'll realize that things will start to unlock and you'll be advancing a lot quicker. So, if I have the Roman numerals of this song, this is the 1 chord. Okay, this is the 4 chord, the first chord of the verse. So you think you can tell. This is the 5 chord. Now you might ask, how did I know that? Well, it's the 4th note of the major scale is the 4 chord. The 5th note is D, and that's the 5 chord. The A minor is the 2 chord because it's the 2nd note of the G major scale. So, hopefully if you're an intermediate guitarist, you already know the major scale. You need to take it seriously, right? Because these Roman numerals are all built off the major scale. So if I play a 4 chord and a 5 chord and a 2 chord, we know that the 2 is minor, 2, 3, and 6 is minor. Back to 1 chord. Now I should be able to transpose that because now I've played it, I've played it, in 4, 5, 2, 1 in the key of G. What if I did a 4, 5, 2, 1 in the key of, I don't know, how about D? Okay, let's move to D. So now I'm going to play a 4 chord. So you think you can tell. 5 chord is A. 2 chord is E minor. 1 chord is D. Can you tell a green field? 5 chord. Okay, let's do E major. You could even transpose melodies, but that would be a little more advanced. Okay, let's start with chords though. So 1 chord. 4 chord, A major. So you think you can B major. 5 chord. 2 chord is F sharp minor. Blue skies from pain. So take any song. Take an evening where you got a couple hours and take any song you know. You don't have to learn a bunch of new stuff to advance. You simply have to take what you already know in these songs and go the extra mile by transposing it or by playing it all up and down the fretboard with Caged. Okay, number 3. Number 3 would be learn the melody of the song that you play on the guitar. Okay, so whether or not you're a singer is beside the point. You don't have to sing if you play guitar. You might just be playing the chords. But learn the melody on the guitar. All right, so if I have Wish You Were Here. Okay. So I've learned the melody. Now, how did I find it? Well, the song is in the key of G major. So if I really know my scale, G major scale, I should be able to find the melody because all of these chords are diatonic. Diatonic meaning they're in the key of G. So if I say, all right, I've got a G major scale, I found the notes of the melody in that side of the scale. Blue skies from pain. Now, why is that important? Well, we want to see these scales in action. We want to see how are we using these scales in our favorite songs. How are melodies created with these scales? You could learn this scale in all 5 positions of Caged. Right? Or how about see how I'm playing the same notes all over the fretboard. that's going to make you a better guitar player. It may not be the most exciting exercise, but learning the melody of your favorite songs. If I do Take It Easy by the Eagles. That's the same key of G major, right? And guess what? It's the same scale of G major. So a collection of 7 notes will give you the melody. And you just have to find it. You're going to be training your ear. Or you could look up the notes. All right, so that would be learning the melody. Number 4 is going to be improvise and explore. So what you want to do is you want to take these pieces of information, take any chords, triads, arpeggios, scales, and mess around and tinker. So if I know that I've got a G major pentatonic in 5 shapes, which again a lot of intermediate players might know, and they say, yeah, I have the 5 shapes. What else is there to do? Well, what else is there to do is to make your own melodies with that. So I can go here, and this is a great warm-up, just going through all 5 shapes of the G major pentatonic. But what I would want to do is to improvise, maybe mess it up, maybe break the rules, maybe play different fingerings, play linearly. Maybe I've learned some triads. I'd want to improvise with those triads. Maybe experiment. That sounds all right. I don't know why. I do know why, but as an intermediate player, I might not know why. Mix up the major pentatonic with the major scale. Slide around. That's going to make you a lot better. And the goal here is that you're never wrong, because this is not a recording or a performance for others. This is practice for you. So make it okay to explore and to improvise. Don't make it so that you need it written down and within the rules. And so improvising and exploring is part of what makes you a better player. So the 5th and final method would be to think of scales and chords as one shape. Now, we could probably point to thousands of guitarists as examples of how to do this, but one that especially comes to mind would be Jimi Hendrix. In fact, Jimi Hendrix's name has been floating through my brain here the whole time, because talk about a master of caged. Okay, Jimi Hendrix just destroyed caged in a great way. And what I mean by that is, if we take, say, The Wind Cries Mary. Here's the A shape of D, E flat, E. But all of a sudden, he's going to do a G shape, which I have a lesson for this song, by the way. So that would be the A shape. Same chords, he's playing it up and down the fretboard. You might say, why is that the G shape? Well, here's the G shape of D. Now he's not gonna play that whole 6-string chord. Who would? No one would, unless I'm teaching a lesson, and then I would show my students. But you could play a triad from that, a 3-note voicing with a little hammer on. Here's the E shape of the B chord. Here's the D shape. So E shape, sliding up to the E shape. See, that's how we can really do that. And so the point is, scales and chords are the same shape. For some reason, we're not taught that, and who knows why, but my jazz guitar teacher, Bruce Foreman, had a joke that it's a conspiracy to make guitar players stupid. Okay. But basically, scales and chords exist in the same shape. So if I have a D chord here, and my D major pentatonic is right here, it's using the same notes as this chord. Even more of an example of this would be our favorite pentatonic scale, A minor pentatonic. Seems like the whole world's learned this scale, which is great. But notice that it's part of an A minor chord here. Okay? Notice. It's practically an A minor arpeggio. So if I'm playing a scale, I want to see the chord. Now we have 5 scales. is it any wonder that we have 5 letters of caged? That's because each scale shape fits into a chord. So what you want to do is you want to play scales, play melodies of songs, and see the chord as you're doing it, okay? And that's going to be something that, all 5 of these things are going to take years, right? I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm still always learning. Now, if you've made it this far, I want to give you some bonus material by just saying that really what you want to do is you want to learn as many songs as you can and apply these 5 things. And you want to memorize these things. I'm a big fan of reading and writing and having notes, but I'm also a fan of memorizing these things and making it part of your internal thought process. And you want to visualize these chord progressions and not just see them written down. So if you're taking a 1, 3, 6, 5, you've got many ways of playing it, and writing it down might limit yourself a little bit. So you want to basically memorize that and try a few ways of playing it. Oh, sorry. Okay. So now I was just doing a few triads, I was doing a few scales, I was doing a few arpeggios, and I relied only on my visual sense and my memorization of these materials. So learn as many songs as you can and apply these methods and build your repertoire. Building your repertoire is one of the best things you can do because you're learning the language in a direct way. And the theory can come after you learn repertoire. So don't feel like you need to understand everything to learn songs. Learn the songs, get stuck in your patterns, that's fine. It means you're ready for growth. Then you would take some of these patterns and try to break free from them and play them all over the neck, transpose them to different keys, figure out what the melody is, improvise, and lastly, think of scales and chords as one shape. So there you go. Give this a go and let me know how it goes. And remember, it's not a race. So you want to basically take your time and improvise over some jam tracks, improvise along with recordings, and explore. I mean, these are things where you can basically find your own path. And not only is there nothing wrong with that, but it's actually encouraged. All right, if you only follow the rules and follow the exercises that YouTubers give you, to be honest, it's going to be a bit limiting. So even my lessons, I would say break free from that as well. All right, keep it by the book and then turn that off and go over to your own exploratory world where you're the boss and you're creating the right fingerings and the right patterns. And I think that that's a good balance. So, good luck with this. We'll be doing more lessons on how to improve. And I'll be, giving some more formal lessons on each of these 5 areas in the time to come. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.